great cannot. Institutions dependent on short-term grants and invisible to the industries that need it most. Researchers cannot plan beyond a single funding cycle. Discoveries stall at the prototype stage. Talent that should be solving Ghana's problems leaves for countries that value it. The Ghana National Research Fund is here to consolidate that fragmented landscape, to provide sustained financing for Ghanaian researchers, to build a permanent bridge between discovery and development, between the laboratory and the market, between Ghana's intellectual wealth and our national transformation. When government and industry invest together in research, we do not just fund science. We fund jobs, we fund food security, we fund clean energy, we fund affordable housing, we fund exports. We fund the Ghana that every researcher, every farmer, every student, every engineer, every entrepreneur has always believed was possible.
And this is how we reset a nation, through financing research for national transformation. Put your hands together for the Ghana National Research Fund. If you're just joining us here at the Badi Beach Hotel, on radio, on television, or online, we welcome you to an important milestone in Ghana's effort to place research, innovation, and knowledge at the center of national development, economic growth, and evidence-based policy planning. Just gone by were speakers who adduced to the fact that research is central to national transformation. Our nation must invest in science and innovation to become globally competitive. Ghana is building a future driven by knowledge, technology, and innovation, but much more than that. This fund represents a bold national investment in Ghana's intellectual capital. All we have achieved has been on the back of collaboration with partners who believed in us. Amongst them, the World Bank, the FCDO, and UNESCO. It is now my pleasure to invite them to briefly share their remarks with us. Let's begin with the World Bank. We shall then go to the FCDO, represented here by the UK High Commissioner to Ghana. Would you please make welcome His Excellency Christian Rogue.
Your Excellency, President John Dramani Mahama, Honorable Haruna Idrisu, Minister for Education, and other ministers present, Professor Yerenchi Dankwa, Chair of the Board, and board members present, and Professor Abigail Opukumensa, Administrator of the Fund, colleagues from academia, the research community, and the private sector, and ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning to you. I stand before you today as a diplomat, but before I embarked on this career in academia and in research, so to my heart. Your Excellency, over the last 2 months, we have shared several important milestones. We were here to launch Ghana's National Artificial Intelligence Strategy, and then most recently your successful visit to London, and now here we are to launch the National Research Fund. And I think together these moments send a very clear message, which is that by working together we can achieve great things. Let me begin by congratulating Your Excellency, the Honourable Minister for Education, the leadership of the GNIF, the Ministry of Environment, Science and Technology, and other partners on this significant achievement that we're launching today. Research and innovation sit at the heart of addressing today's global challenges, from accelerating economic growth to tightening national security. And that is why in the United Kingdom we spend around 2.5% of our national income on research and development. Because we know that countries that invest in strong research systems are better equipped to drive growth, create jobs, and improve lives. So today is therefore not just about launching a new institution. It is also about establishing a system to finance and support research and innovation, and doing so in a way that aligns with Ghana's own development priorities and the ambitions of the Accra Reset Agenda. Your Excellency, the strength of the UK-Ghana collaboration in this space is already clear. A recent review concluded that there were over 360 partnerships between Ghanaian and British research institutions. So we have a very strong foundation that we can build on going forward. But previously, many of these partnerships were driven and funded internationally. In the future, we look forward to seeing new partnerships fully driven by national priorities and by the Ghana National Research Fund. The United Kingdom has been proud to support Ghana's journey towards this moment. Over the past decade, and through partnerships such as the Science Granting Council's initiative, we have worked alongside Ghana to strengthen research systems, governance, and capacity. And this approach reflects the broader principles at the heart of our partnership: mutual respect, shared expertise, and long-term collaboration. And we're seeing the results of this approach. Through Innovate UK's knowledge transfer partnership model, we have supported research that moves beyond theory towards practical solutions. One example is cereal, a fortified flour developed to improve nutrition. And a few months ago, I was in Tamale opening the factory in which cereal is producing the flour, and it's encouraging to see that it is now reaching communities across northern Ghana. And similarly, innovations such as FarmSense, which supports farmers with soil analysis and fertilizer recommendations, are already in the market. These examples are important because ultimately the success of the Ghana National Research Fund will be seen not only by the number of publications and citations, but by the innovations it enables, the jobs it creates, and the difference it makes to people's lives in Ghana. Let me conclude by reaffirming the UK's readiness to continue working alongside Ghana to support Professor Abigail and the fund's success. And finally, Your Excellency, let me conclude also by congratulating the Government of Ghana once again on this important milestone. Thank you very much.
One more time for His Excellency Christian Rogue, the UK High Commissioner to Ghana, speaking to us on behalf of the FCDO. Thank you for your collaboration thus far. We have a seat for you on our governing board as a fellow researcher. We now move to another integral partner, the UNESCO. The Country Director, Mr. Edmond Mukaila, joins us with his remarks. A round of applause for him.
Your Excellency, President John Dramani Mahama, President of the Republic of Ghana, Honorable Minister of Education, dear brother, Haruna Idrisu, my dear sister, Minister of Culture, Tourism and Arts, distinguished members of the government present here, honorable members of the Parliament, the chairperson and member of the governing board of the Ghana National Research Fund, acting administrator of the GNRF, our dear sister, development partners, representative of the academia, industry, and civil society, distinguished guests, really, ladies and gentlemen. For UNESCO, it is really a great sense of profound proudness, optimism that UNESCO stands with you today at the birth of a transformative institution, the Ghana National Research Fund. Today, we are witnessing a declaration of mind's independence. This launch signaled the dawn of an era where Ghana is transitioning from a consumer of global innovation to a producer of local solutions with global resonance. At the heart of UNESCO mandates is the belief that knowledge is the ultimate currency of human development. As the custodian of Agency for Sustainable Development Target 9.5, UNESCO calls for the enhancement of scientific research and the upgrading of technological capabilities. So UNESCO views the establishment of the GNRF as a gold standard for the African continent. This fund is the essential engine that will secure Ghana's economic development as demonstrated by the chairperson, technological independence, and most importantly, its geopolitical sovereignty. UNESCO wishes to commend His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama for his visionary leadership. His administration has recognized a fundamental truth that for a nation to be truly free in the 21st century, it cannot rely on intellectual charity of others. And as my predecessor just highlighted, we have been here at the AI strategy launching. We have witnessed the culture policy and many other strategic instruments that has been launched throughout the years. So we know that that's really been in the heart of His Excellency, that it cannot rely on the intellectual charity alone. To be free, a nation must be grounded in its own data, its own technology, its own innovation. So the GNRF is really a physical manifestation of that vision, and we want really to thank you and congratulate you at the same time, President. One of the things that UNESCO felt very much touched is that for decades, one of Africa's greatest exports has been its talent, the brain drain, the migration of our top scientific minds to foreign shores has been a quiet erosion of our national potential. The GNRF changes that equation by providing well-funded local laboratories, competitive grants, and a vibrant research ecosystem. Ghana is telling its scientists, your brilliance is needed here. It will be supported here. We are transforming the brain drain into brain gain. So UNESCO involvement in this journey has been significant and deeply rewarding through the UK-funded Sankore project, and thanks really to the FCDO contribution, we have been privileged to provide the technical scaffolding for the fund. So I will not be remiss if I do not also acknowledge the leadership of the acting administrator. Her appointment as the pioneer female head of this fund is a historic moment. It reflects Ghana's deep commitment to inclusive leadership and serve as a beacon of inspiration for the next generation of women scientists and innovators. Her leadership, Excellency, proves that in the quest for knowledge, there are no limits to what Ghanaian women can achieve. So on behalf of the Director General of UNESCO and the entire United Nations family in Ghana, I congratulate the government of Ghana, the Ministry of Education, the governing board, and all the stakeholders who have made the day possible. You have built a lighthouse of hope. UNESCO remains, as my predecessor, and I will be counting on you, my High Commissioner, UNESCO remains your steadfast partner. We are committed to supporting Ghana's research, innovation, and development ambitions as you lead, Excellency, the way forward to a sustainable and more prosperous future for Ghana. And I thank you.
Bepon Sudia and Ninu as Naneman Fujiwana Humi. Quiet bretu our during Srade and footing in Yaba. She at the chance through maybe a pue amo my gun in Hunadichi. Okuchensia or not your own throne, no slow confise. Nyame bonechi dom, one on which not a dom, many mako dom, medi dom, soon kuni machi dom, some stuff, what yatra dom, and the osro dom. Metre, only Monyam for John Dramani Mahama. O man for Dawasi. O man for Mawaiko. Honorable Harina Idrisu. Esia pomo esia fo enkumania kese nyina da wase ensa oh statesmen, we salute you. We speak of distant shores and whisper tomorrows, to 1,000 miles ahead unknown. Yet at a fleeting glance we are able to tell of the journey's silent story. So permit me to gently illuminate the pathways of ancient glories and may forgotten identities resurface. That right here on our land lies a reservoir of hidden strengths and untapped potentials. Right here on this land is where curiosity takes its roots. That this land is an empire with millions of words. Not just with English and French, but a vibrant linguistic land crafted by curious minds. That this soil is a pharmacy, a treasure trove of green millions of herbs. Nature's codes unraveled by these same curious minds. That somewhere, back in the days, when our ancestors could simply tell the hour of the day with the positioning of the moon and the sun. Somewhere, when they first wondered about the world around them, the sun, the moon, hunting techniques, this innate drive to understand and explore probably evolved as a survival mechanism, helping humans adapt and innovate. From myth-making to scientific inquiry, curiosity's spark has fueled human progress. Curiosity now receives a stage name, a quest for truth, questioning every line, searching again and again, researching. Now let's journey where curiosity starts. But what good is it when the literature is reviewed, methodologies defined, problems formulated, analyzed, and interpreted? Only good enough. Good enough to get us the A's that make us graduates. Of what use when at best works published if Western notes are still the surest cause? Here to give an answer, that a new path unwinds. The course is clear. The agenda resets with research insights, supporting the local Ghanaian researcher. The new Ghana is on the runway and in takeoff mode. And you are all advised to fasten your seatbelts. Habiba Nababa Mahama. Sanyanko to me tie with chi chiramena wina. Why not to me sorry tia amagana? See you know what the don't mind to Wasamba. Wababe Peja, the Ghana National Research Fund. Adayaswan, the late Professor, President John Evans Fifi Atamils. Free dachi chiri who ni mind dachi free chintia or chichiri boy a man neck ashani huno. Onyanko ponko so funny see Abraham Kukum to clear the path for a brighter tomorrow. His Excellency sought the wisdom of experts sharper than arrows. Okunini Professor Eric Irenchi Dankwa. She ne nim die so na batan your money down kwa. Nya ne nsabe so mbia no etumpong ensa ne chi ne enyankwa. Professor Abigail Pokumensa, Oba Kukudrofo, Okoni Koto Jenimo, Okoto Sirenyansa. Can the money man gun and son was your Norano? What better hands to handle this agenda? From here on, we count our days. Not in the frustration of each delay, because we certainly won't lose this race. Not when there is a factor called grace. Tell me, who dares get in our way? Ghana is not where it used to be. It's not where it wants to be either. We are becoming, with every step, every lesson, every challenge, bringing us closer and closer to where we are destined to be. The journey may be tough, but so are we. Now here's to many more years of growth, resilience, and becoming more and more unstoppable. Thank you.
Esther Obeng delivering the youth manifesto of the Ghana we are becoming. Please put your hands together for her. And many thanks to you, the Ghana Dance Ensemble, for duly acknowledging our partners who have come in handy to support us in reaching this feat. And now, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it falls to Ghana's Minister for Education to address us, the Honorable Haruna Idrisu, MP.
Your Excellency, President John Dramani Mahama, President and Commander-in-Chief of the Ghana Armed Forces, my colleague MP and Minister for Tourism, the Administrator of the GET Fund, Deputy Minister and Rural MP from Fimbisi, Clement Apak, Excellency Mukala, Excellency Chris, FCDO and UK High Commission, Christian, thank you. Representatives of the donor community, we are grateful. And I see a bevy of Vice Chancellors. Let me acknowledge you, including Professor Cliff Tego, former Vice Chancellor, University of Ghana, and Professor Isabella of the Ghana Academy of Arts and Sciences, the Board and Council, Chief Executive, Student Loan Trust, Library Authority. Let me end it there. Mr. President, I'll keep it very brief. Mine would be to introduce the President of the Republic as the keynote speaker and to keep it as short as an old woman's dance, brief and simple. President John Dramani Mahama is here this morning to give meaning and commitment by unveiling and formally declaring the formal declaration of the National Research Fund, which for him is simply not an academic fund, but a fund that should facilitate, enhance national productivity, industrialization, and innovation. President John Dramani Mahama works with the words of Kurt Lewin, German-American psychologist, who said that no research without action and no action without research. And for President Mahama, the lesson simply is he wants a country that creates solutions, not a country that will neglect research and import solutions. So for President Mahama, he wants Ghana to lead in providing answers, homegrown answers, to our continuous national challenges. So his presence here this morning, I'm told he would leave for La Côte d'Ivoire for another important international engagement on cocoa, is to demonstrate to academia and to many of you that for him, even his 24-hour economy, he's challenging you researchers and academia that he wants you to drive that into making Ghana a strong industrial manufacturing hub beyond his pledge and declaration of a 24-hour economy. How does research contribute to this? So today, President Mahama, I'm sure, will be declaring zero tolerance for the shelving of research findings and zero tolerance for the dusting of research findings, and that your research work, tirelessly done, must be shared for our national good. So I have the singular honor to introduce President Mahama. Now I see the President of UTAC, Professor Vera. Let me recognize you and to assure you that President Mahama will not give UTAC an opportunity to go on strike. Therefore, your book and research allowance, I have a copy of the letter here signed by the Minister for Finance. What you may not be happy with is whether the exchange rate is the Bawumia rate or the John Mahama rate of the exchange rate. But at least none of you will debate Then I conclude before I invite the president. In the country today, many are struggling to measure the popularity of the president, the growing popularity, the decline in popularity. But you know, if you conduct a good research, and that research analyzes the outcome of the 2024 presidential election, it can only lead to one irresistible outcome: a popular president with an extraordinary mandate by the people of Ghana. Without much ado, I have the singular honor and privilege. I'm sure I can take his permission to add one more. Only a week ago, President Mahama presided over his cabinet outside Accra on major constitutional, administrative,